Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to Joke Paint. I've been studying a lot of techniques and materials, different things about oil painting lately, trying to implement what I've learned, trying to do a better job of implementing these things anyways. First of which is actually priming my boards. Noticed that the boards were soaking up the oil paint. I was using way more oil paint than I should have been. Priming definitely makes a difference. I don't like just starting with a white canvas though, so I did tone the paint. I added some burnt umber, a little bit of red, I think cadmium red, and some alizarin crimson, just a tiny bit to tone it up. Painted my boards with that. You can see here I started by penciling in the scene to start with, literally just use a number 2 lead pencil, and then sketching everything in with burnt umber, thinned out with some paint thinner to sketch it all in there and get an idea of where my light and shadow are going to be. Noting it's best to start your painting with your paint thinner and paint mix. You usually get your thinner paint down first and then progressively work to thicker paint, especially if you're going to be doing an alla prima painting like this all in one sitting. The thinner paint will dry faster than non-thin paint, and so if you go in reverse order, then you can wind up with cracking. My personal preference is lay down the midtones first, all the midtones, the average values in an area, and then go back and forth working in the lights and the shadows, slowly increasing the contrast until I get it to a level that I really like. Of course, paying attention to the effect of light and shadow while you're doing this really helps. You generally you're going to have cool shadows and warm light, but that depends on what are you trying to convey. Are you trying to convey the warmth in the light, coolness in the shadows? In this scene, I'm actually kind of doing the opposite. Here, I'm trying to convey the idea that it's possibly a warmer day than it has been recently, so the snow is melting, but it's still cold out. I added the warm hues around the painter and his cat to make that area, a little area on the side of the street, a bit more inviting, and maybe try to make the viewer want to step into the painting and walk over and see what's going on with this guy and his cat. Now, my midtones on the sidewalk, I went with this orange brick color to represent brick stones. That was too warm, and I wind up coming back in with some ultramarine blue cut down with a little bit of white, and I blend that in. The only thing is, when you do that, you can cool a warm color down with a cooler color, but you also dilute it. And when you mix a cool and a warm like that, I've noticed personally it seems to muddy the hues of the colors when you mix them in like that. So that leads me also to painting with black and white. Black, I found out recently, is actually a color, and so the reason why they tell you don't just paint with black to darken something up is because it's generally more of actually a blue. So if you try to darken a yellow with it, you wind up with a green. Trying to darken a red, you wind up with a purple color. So black is kind of an odd one. You can actually make your own blacks. You can look it up. There's lots of different ways, but generally you combine 2 complementary colors. The same thing goes for using white. White, I'm not entirely sure on the technical aspects of it, but white seems to lessen the vibrancy of a color while raising its value. So if you want a higher value color, but you want to keep the vibrancy, mixing it with white is not the way to go. Unfortunately, I'm working with a very limited palette, so making do as best I can. Anyways, I hope you have a great week. Enjoy.